O Zion, that dwellest with the daughter of Babylon. For thus saith Yahweh of hosts, after the glory hath he sent me unto the nations which spoiled you. For he that toucheth you toucheth the apple of his eye. Shalom, brothers and sisters. I'm Brother Jonas, and the title of this video is Satan and the Serpent. Edom has produced movies and television shows, artwork, such as paintings or drawings that wrongly portrayed what went on in the garden. And I have heard Christianity say there is no serpent but just Satan, or that Satan was the serpent itself, and scripture does not support those statements. People misunderstand what they read because they have heard it from Christianity. Now, Edom is in control of the movie and TV industry, not just here in America, but in all first world nations. They control that form of witchcraft, and it is powerful programming. And yes, much of media is witchcraft. We're going to let the word of the Most High show us the facts about the garden. We know the Most High can do whatever he wants because he alone is God. And he had the animals speaking during the time of the Garden of Eden. And none of the animals were found to be an appropriate helpmate for Adam, if you recall this in your scriptures in Genesis. This lesson would be a buffet of learning, a little bit here and there, as we examine the serpent in the garden. Now, there are some questions you have to ask concerning the Garden of Eden. The Garden of Eden. Why did the serpent beguile or deceive Eve? How was the serpent going to profit from this? These are common sense questions that you have to ask yourself. Why would a snake do this? What did it have to gain? The snake or serpent couldn't profit from deceiving Eve. Animals, especially during that time, were not inherently evil, having an agenda. Animals had not eaten from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. So Satan had to possess the serpent for the serpent to speak to Eve and tell her a lie. Satan is the father of lies, not animals or the serpent. The serpent is not the father of lies, but Satan himself. Satan couldn't just come to Eve and have a conversation as a spirit. The serpent was a real serpent, and it moved about upright like a cobra can stand upright. Many of y'all have seen a cobra stand up. And the snake during that time in the garden could stand up like that cobra and move itself across the ground. Now, Satan used the serpent because it was more subtle than any beast of the field which the Most High had made. Let's look up the definition of subtle or subtle, however you want to pronounce it. Subtle, 1, thin, not dense or gross, as subtle air, subtle vapor, a subtle medium. 2, nice, fine, delicate. 3, acute, piercing, as subtle pain. 4, and this is the one we want, sly, artful, cunning, crafty, insinuating, as a subtle person, a subtle adversary. Number 5, planned by art, deceitful as a subtle scheme. 6, deceitful, treacherous. That's one we can use as well. Deceitful, treacherous. Number 7, refined, fine, acute as a subtle argument. The snake back then was not hated and feared as it is today. So Eve was not afraid of it. They were not afraid of any creatures in the garden. They were generally peaceful and not carnivorous, not attacking in any way. So she was not afraid of it as we are today. Now let's go to Genesis 3, verse 1. Now the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahweh had made. And he said unto the woman, Yea, hath the Most High said, Ye shall not eat of every tree of the garden? We know the serpent was a real snake because the Most High said the serpent was more subtle than any beast of the field which Yahweh had made. So the serpent was an animal we call reptiles today. Verse 2, And the woman said unto the serpent, We may eat of the fruit of the trees of the garden. But of the fruit of the tree which is in the midst of the garden, the Most High said, Ye shall not eat of it, neither shall ye touch it, lest ye die. And the serpent said unto the woman, Ye shall not surely die. For the Most High doth know that in the day ye eat thereof, then your eyes shall be opened, and ye shall be as gods, knowing good and evil. Now, we know in Scripture, Yahweh has told the Israelites that they are gods. That's in John 10, verse 34, and Psalms 82, 6. But he was only talking about the Israelites. So when Eve and Adam ate of that fruit, did they become like gods? No, that was a lie. Godship is only being given to the Israelites. The rest of mankind are not like gods. But what Satan truly meant was that if you eat of this fruit, your knowledge will be increased. And we see today that Edom plays God with their wicked inventions and diabolical schemes to kill everybody. Now, you have to ask yourselves how the serpent was more knowledgeable, key word being knowledgeable, than Eve. The answer is because Satan had possessed the serpent, and it was Satan that knew of the tree of knowledge of good and evil. So Eve ate, and she gave Adam some, and he ate. Now, the damage is done. Who benefited from that? The real serpent or Satan? Satan did. The serpent didn't benefit from that in any way, shape, or form. It was Satan that benefited from them eating the fruit, because now he would rule over the earth and not a snake. Verse 9, And Yahweh, the Most High, called unto Adam, and he said unto him, Where art thou? The Most High called unto Adam, even though he knew where he was. Verse 10, And he said, I heard thy voice in the garden, and I was afraid, because I was naked, and I hid myself. Adam learned about fear, and yes, he and Eve were actually naked. This isn't talking about shame or being in sin in this particular scripture. Verse 11, And he said, Who told thee that thou wast naked? Hast thou eaten of the tree whereof I commanded thee that thou shouldn't eat? The Most High knew that they could have only learned about being naked by an increase of knowledge from eating from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Verse 12, And the man said, The woman whom thou gavest to be with me, she gave me of the tree, and I did eat. And Yahweh the Most High said unto the woman, What is this that thou hast done? And the woman said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. Now there is some finger pointing here. Adam to Eve, Eve to the serpent. Eve said, The serpent beguiled me, and I did eat. Eve think it was the snake that tricked her, but it was a spirit called Satan that was inside that snake. The snake allowed Satan to enter him. Remember this, the snake allowed Satan to enter him. And this is going to show in scripture. Verse 14, And Yahweh, the Most High, said unto the serpent. Now the Most High is talking to the serpent. Because thou hast done this, thou art cursed above all cattle, and above every beast of the field. Upon thy belly shalt thou go, and dust shalt thou eat all the days of thy life. So now all snakes are cursed and slide around on their belly. Is Satan moving around on his belly? No. So you know the serpent was a real snake. And because that the serpent allowed Satan to possess him, the Most High punished the serpent and all snakes that followed him, that followed after him. He should not have let Satan use him. But because he allowed Satan to use him, the Most High punished the serpent and all snakes. They are cursed. People today allow Satan to use them and even possess them, and a terrible price will be paid for that, just as the real serpent paid a price set forth by the Most High. Even in the kingdom, the serpent will eat dust for food. Look at this. Isaiah 65, verse 25. The wolf and the lamb shall feed together, and the lion shall eat straw like the bullock. And dust shall be the serpent's meat. And dust shall be the serpent's meat. This is the same thing the Most High told the serpent back in Genesis when he punished the serpent for allowing Satan to possess him and use him to deceive Eve. They shall not hurt nor destroy in all my holy mountain, saith Yahweh. This punishment is for the serpent and all snakes from the Garden of Eden throughout eternity to eat dust. Now, is Satan eating dust? No. So it's not talking about Satan. It's talking about the serpent. The two were separate. Just as a man is separate from Satan today, but Satan can possess that man if a man allows him to possess him. If a man opens himself up to being possessed. And it's easy to do if you're strung out on drugs, drunk, or devil worshiping. You can open yourself up to possession. But Satan and the demons just can't come jump in and take over someone. Remember the story when Christ had got off the boat and they saw this man who was possessed by many demons. And they saw Christ and they said, has the time come for you to destroy us? And they asked Christ to put them in the pigs. Why they just didn't jump in the pigs themselves? They couldn't. So Christ allowed them to go into the pigs. Okay, let's continue. Verse 15. And I will put enmity between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. It shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. So the Most High said he will put enmity or hostility between snakes and the woman, and between future snakes and future people. So now this is where the fear and hatred of snakes coming in. Now you got some people that love snakes for their little wicked devil worshiping thing, but for the most part, people hate snakes. And snakes really don't like people. Man will bruise or stump the head of a snake, and snakes will bruise or bite the heels of man. So the serpent is used as a reference of deceit, subtlety, because Satan used or possessed the serpent in the Garden of Eden, in the first lie told to man. Revelations 12, verse 9. And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil and Satan. What? That old serpent called the devil and Satan, which deceiveth the whole world, he was cast out into the earth, and his angels were cast out with him. Many people today, especially false pastors, are fondly called snakes. Why do we call these false pastors snakes? Because they deceive. It's symbolic. In reference to their father Satan, but they are not actually snakes. No, they're people. But we call them snakes because they slither in with subtlety and cause people to sin. Snakes are the mascot for deceit and deceivers, which are simply devils. Now, the Bible talks about that old serpent called the devil and Satan. That's metaphorical because we know Satan is a spirit being, an angel, wicked. No angel is a snake and not a literal snake. Satan is wicked and not a literal snake. Because he took on the subtlety of a snake to deceive Eve, he is called that old serpent. Satan's number one deceit to man was to cause him to give up rulership of the earth, kicked out of the Garden of Eden, and take on death through sin and marry him to hard labor in the earth for food. A snake did not benefit from this, but a wicked angel we call Satan did. So hopefully you understand that Satan used the serpent, just like he used you and other people today, to say and do wicked things, to cause themselves and others to stumble and strive with the Creator, like he did from the very beginning. So peace to you, Israel, and remember, the time is short. Tick tock.